Hello everybody, it's me, and we're here again to make another pot. We're still continuing our series of those sort of flowery vases. Today's pot, we had some complications, let's just say that at the very least, right? I think one of the biggest problem with today's pot was that I'm going to call it the neck of the pot. The neck of the pot got squished, and it was just because I didn't really do a good job with my exaggerated poles, and so it kind of made an uneven area for me to sort of make the neck of the pot before I got to the head or the bud of the top part. And so I'll talk you guys through that when we get there, but for now, I mean, we're just doing the classic centering. I've been kind of just doing very simple centering. You can see just cone up, cone down, cone up, cone down, done. You know, I think I want to start using higher quality video coming up soon, and so maybe I'll do like some zoom ins on spots depending on if it turns out good. So I just want to get used to making things a little bit quicker, and so shortening up my time on the collaring is definitely helps out a lot. I also need to do cleanup pretty soon. My cleanup of my whole space is pretty. It's just kind of dirty, and my sponge. If you ever worked with a sponge before, and your water is getting really like it becomes almost like a slurry itself of clay, like a slip or whatever. It clogs the sponge. Like my sponge like doesn't even work. You can see I just squeeze it, and it's not even water going in really, which it's okay. It doesn't really matter too much, but I guess sometimes I just like the feeling of like just like the slick water. That's weird. The water, then the oh goddamn, that was a good pull. The slick water, then the slip, like it's just like that thick, like chocolate milk slip. And we're just doing some collaring. Like I said, I've been doing this collaring like it's not it's not really a good way. I'm not collaring well, like this isn't something that you should do. Maybe you should do it or just try it, right? I feel like that's always fun. Just try these things and see if they work for you or not. But I'm just trying to get it a little bit more narrow on that base, just because it's so annoying when it gets a little bit too thick, or if it gets a little bit too thin, right? Like this pot, it begs like a very even like wall thickness. But I also think that the top needs to just be a little bit thinner, and then not on this pot, but on one of my pots today. Maybe if you watch any of my shorts later today, you'll see. But I actually did the spiral on the top of the bud before I did the exaggerated pole on the bottom, and so I feel like that one actually turned out pretty good. So if you get to see that one, that'd be great. But yeah, don't look at that. I've been watching this one guy. It's this Korean guy. And when he poles, he does like this weird grip, and he like collars as he poles. And I was trying to do that, and it just did not really work. But I did want to. I feel like it's good to try these things, right? When I see something, I'm like, oh fuck, I want to do it, right? Especially when I see some of these guys pole, it's like next level. So I think it's always good to try to test yourself if you can. And I was just trying to get some of that clump out of the inside. I'm not sure if you saw it earlier, but like when I squeezed the sponge, like the sponge is so full of clay that there's actually like a clump of clay that got stuck to it and just fell in the bottom. It's like I was fishing and I couldn't even see. Like I stuck my hand in a hole and I'm like searching for a mouse or something. Yeah, these were okay. I haven't really had a really great one of those sort of exaggerated pulls for a little bit now. But here I'm trying to collar that top in. I think I just need to not do that. Like I said, I think the real way is to do finish the top spiral before I even mess with the bottom. That's always actually something I should have learned before, because when I was making some other, you can see it was a little bit like an oval there. Oh, sorry, I'll get back to that other thing, but you can see it was like an oval, and it almost fell. And I caught it, and I just set it back. And so now it's okay, and I'm just gonna emphasize that spiral, trying to fix it up a little bit. But when I was working on some cups before, I would do this sort of undulating my fingers all the way up through a pole. And what that did is created a cool texture, but what happened was that it actually, that I figured out that working from the top down was better, because if I worked from the top up, the bottom would like collapse and cave in usually. But if I worked from the top down, it would just never happen. So I think that's something I should have known, and that's like a good reminder for ceramics, is like always, I'm a big proponent of not really destroying your work, um, and keeping it as long as you can, right? Because you can sort of go back and see these things. Like sometimes I'll look at a pot and then I'll just see, I remember that's what I did there, and then it will like refresh you on something that you might need to bring back to your practice, whether it's a technique or it's an actual like form that you're making. And so I don't really have a good memory, but I will say like my memory is held within like my pots when it comes to ceramics, and I think that's it's kind of cool to me, and so I'll keep it that way. But this pot isn't too terrible. The thing about it that I liked is there's actually a small opening that goes all the way to the bottom. Sometimes with the exaggerated pole collapse, that I won't be able to put a flower on the interior, but this had like a perfect spot, and so I'm hoping that it will be like a very straight, not leaning, and then at the very top it will sort of kind of dip over, which I think would be really nice for a pot like this, but we'll see how it goes. But yeah, there's the pot for the day. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, all the best and strong mentality. Peace.